Mm-hmm. Right, right. I knew that. And my impression is, my understanding is that Byron, prior to George's death, didn't have resources. He lived in that crummy trailer right there on the property and didn't have resources, but very quickly left and went to England where he lived the rest of his days. Um, I guess there's some question about a couple missing bank books. Yeah, I'm not sure she knew about him. I don't think she did. Right, but my understanding is from my mom is when George died, that was kind of thrust on her quickly. I guess when he changed his will the final time to make mom the executor, but he did that sometime before his death. But when he did it, Byron is the one who drove him into the attorney to make the changes in Escondido. Um, and so, and according to Blue, which may or may not be a valid source, the day before George died, they were seen arguing very, very strongly. Now, this is all hearsay, and so many of the characters are gone. I don't think we're ever going to know exactly what happened. No. We thought about writing a book too, and you used to go out to Pala like I did. The tribe, the Pala Tribal Council and the Pala tribe in those days was very. It was not a wealthy group at all, very poor, and they're not anymore. Now that's the casino, um, but there were a number of other things. I went to visit his gravesite two or three times after he died, and the last time I went out with my kids and stuff, and we went to the site, and there were a large number of Mexicans living in the house, and it was being used of multiple families. It was being used as a way station for illegals to come across the border. They'd be perfectly safe there on reservation land, and then move on. I'm sure the tribe was charging them a fee to do that. Uh, but the grave was still intact all those times, although all the gems that had been put in, all the big nice rocks that were, yeah, those were gone quickly. So we went out this time, and the Indians tribal council kept messing me around and messing around. So Vicky and I snuck on, like you do. And now the last time you snuck on, was his gravesite cement block still there? Okay, it's gone. It's gone. I know the exact spot it was. It was gone. Blue said he had heard stories, which I guess makes sense, that the rumors were that a number of gems were buried with George, maybe even in his urn or something, buried with him. Well, if anyone believes that story, then but the gravesite's gone, totally gone. Right. I remember seeing it there. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's even more destroyed now. Um, I mean, there's really the entire inside has been gutted. Like the last time I saw it when the Mexicans were living there, I mean, it never was a nice house, but it was. Now it's just there's nothing inside. No, there's no paneling on the walls. I mean, it's gone basically. The structure is still standing barely. The outbuildings to the left of the house, as you're looking at the house, are on the edge of falling down. I mean, there's really nothing there. So that's the scoop. The Indians are using it as um, there's dumping a lot of cement and landfill-like material behind the house. I I didn't go up to the mine. You know, we used to go up to the mine that was directly up the hillside, about 400 yards from the house. We used to go up there a lot, and the last time I was there, it looked like it was still being worked a little bit, but I'm sure that's high graders just going in and see what they can find. Yeah, yeah, it's high grading, or the Indians are doing it and not telling anybody. I mean, who knows? It's tough. Okay. Now, do you remember that when Uncle George died, my mom was interacting with a man named Willie Pink on the tribal council? Okay. Yes, right. Well, the Pala is a combination of two different tribes. Yeah, the Pala, what they call the Pala tribal group, is actually composed of two different tribes of Indians. Neither one of it is named Pala. But one group did come from Warner Hot Springs. But at that point in time, Willie Pink was number 2 on the tribal council, and he was in charge of land acquisition and everything. He and his entire family have since been thrown out of the tribe. There's lawsuits in federal court and a lot of legal. I mean, you can access it on the internet even now. They do something. The tribal council is allowed. Any tribal council is allowed to decertify Indians if they do research and find out that they have less Native American blood in them than they thought. About 100 from that Pala mission group, and there's only like 500 in there, were decertified. Willie Pink was one of them, and they're not allowed back on the reservation or anything, and he's suing. It appears the biggest reason probably is every member of the Pala Indian Mission Group gets $150,000 a year from the casino enterprise. They also get free housing if you live on the reservation lands, and education for your kids. Apparently, when revenues start to decrease, or if people want a bigger share, if you decertify 100 people, now your pot is not 400 or 500, it's 300 or 400. Willie Pink was one of them. And my hope at one point was to talk to Willie Pink, now that he's been thrown out and probably hates everybody in the tribal council, Robert Smith, who is the head. I was thinking, if there was some funny stuff going on with Uncle George, maybe Willie Pink would want to tell me, but then it hit my brain, no, at that point in time, if there was funny stuff going on, Willie Pink was probably, he would have been right in the middle of it. So I don't know what we're going to do there. We went to Ramona, where George's mom and dad lived, and the Ashley residence is still there. Yeah, we went there and looked at it and stuff and took a lot of pictures, but then we spent the night there, not at the residence, but spent the night in Ramona. And the next day we wanted to see what we could find out about the Ashleys who lived there. There's a little city, yeah, and that was closed for the whole month of September. But, well, that's okay. No, we did more poking and prodding, and they came down and opened it for us. Spent a lot of time with them, got a lot of information, went through the entire George Ashley file and copied a lot of stuff. But then I talked to a man and woman, the man who wrote all the history of Ramona and stuff, and his wife sent me a bunch of information on the Ashleys. And the amazing thing is, I mean, there's a lot of things. I don't know if you have the obituary from Edward Ashley when he died, where they called, probably from the Sentinel, Ramona Sentinel, and where they talk about him being called the Luther Burbank of Southern California, Ramona or something. Well, I guess he was very well known. He had like 83 varieties of grapes on the property, and he introduced
Kumquats.
Jujubes,
Jujubes.
Jujubes, and Molinari grapes and Spanish onions to Southern California. It was well known for all that, and that's all written up. And But then as Vicky did more research and as we were reading stuff, we were wondering how much of it was Edward Ashley really doing that stuff. I'm sure he did a lot of it. And how much of it was his wife, Rosa, doing it and him getting the credit because of the time. And so we kept looking into that. Now, I don't know, do you know about their background in England?